Welcome to the Open Forum in the Villages, Florida podcast. In this show, we talk to leaders in the community, leaders of clubs, and interesting folks who live here in the Villages to get perspectives of what is happening here in the Villages, Florida. We are a listener-supported podcast. There will be shout-outs for supporters in episodes. In Season 6, we will continue making substantial improvements to the podcast.
This is Mike Roth, and listeners, I'm thrilled to share with you this podcast, which is my passion project for you. This podcast brings me joy, brings you knowledge, inspiration, and a lot of things that people need to know about the villages and the people living here. Be sure to hit the follow button to get the newest episode each week. Creating this podcast is a labor of love, even though it demands more time than I can easily spare. Now, here's where you come in. You can help us keep the podcast alive and thriving. How? By becoming a supporter. The easy way for you to support us is to visit our podcast webpage, openforuminthevillagesflorida.com, and click on the supporter button at the top of the page, or the purple supporter box on the right side of the page. Even a small donation of $3 to $10 a month makes a big difference. And guess what? You can cancel your subscription at any time. No strings attached. Your support means the world to us. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep those headphones on. I hope everyone enjoys today's show. This is Mike Roth on Open Forum in the Villages, Florida. I'm here with Joe Kasper, an exercise physiologist, and he engages in conversations about how to get proper nutrition as a senior. Is that fair, Joe?
Correct.
Why are you passionate about health?
The reason goes back to childhood. Mike, I've always had a fear of death. That's the reality. I remember when I was 6, my Aunt Jean passed away, and I didn't know what that meant. I remember and my father goes, she left, she's not coming back. I go, why not? And he couldn't explain it to me. And my father, he lied to me. He said, Dad, then if she's not coming back, you make sure you never die either. Obviously he did. Dying early doesn't have to happen. I've been passionate about health since I was a teenager. Most of what we have, people talk about genetically, you're going to have all these diseases. Why do we have to accept that? I don't think we should, but most people do. In most family households, whatever the illness and disease the parents had, the grandparents had, the kids have. And I believe you can change that paradigm by having better nutrition. And I really believe that's an exercise and being consistent. So I started as a teenager to become healthy, and all the diseases that my parents got, I don't have them at 58.
And do you believe that everyone should have genetic testing so that we understand where our genetic faults lie? Or should we just say, Mom had heart disease, I might have heart disease, so I'll eat and exercise as if I'm going to get heart disease?
Interesting question. It makes sense. I think it depends on the individual, because if you have this fear, and I don't have a fear, I just work to be healthy. If you have a fear that, okay, my parents had this disease, I'm going to get it too, I did the opposite. The key here is behavior. If your parents got cancer and smoked and drank a lot, don't smoke and drink and your chances are less. Common sense is a lot of this.
Yeah. Cancer, I've always felt it's more than one disease. If you've got lung or brain cancer from smoking, that's because you smoked.
Yeah.
But there are people who get brain cancer who never smoke. People who get lung cancer never smoke.
True.
In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, people were in rooms or airplanes where people were smoking, so they got secondary smoke.
No question.
Turns out to be fatal.
My mom went to the doctor in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the doctors gave you cigarettes.
Really?
Yes, that's true. My mom told me.
No, I could never smoke cigarettes.
Oh, I couldn't.
I was playing trombone in high school. I wanted to be first trombone, so you had to play loudest, not necessarily best.
Very smart.
It wasn't for a health reason. It was for playing the trombone. Joe, you've got a new expression, aging gracefully, live fully. Can you tell our listeners what that means?
It's one of my news coming out is going to be called Age Gracefully, Live Fully. And people always talk about getting older, and you always hear, Mike, all this scientific research on all these diseases. But you ever notice that with all the research, we're getting sicker and heavier? Our country is not healthy because unfortunately we live in a country where it's always money first, health last. And you could say that's not true. It sure is. It shouldn't be. And again, I'm just saying for the most of the population, there's always exceptions to the rules, of course.
Right.
But if you want to age, it takes work. And Mike, here's a fact. Most people above 50 drink some alcohol, take some medication, and don't exercise as much as they could. That's the reality. And most people are not willing to give up those three things. They won't, because their friends do it and their family does it. No one wants to be the black sheep. I've written books, formulated vitamins like no one in the world. My family doesn't take my stuff. And it's life. I'd like to help them, but they don't want to be helped.
Yeah, I took a lot of vitamins probably to the time I was about 21.
But how were the vitamins made? Probably made better years ago than now. Now there's almost every company.
100% natural.
Today they're not. Mine are natural, but most aren't because they have chemicals and fillers. It's a bad thing.
I use Nutrilite. It's still sold through Amway.
It's mass produced.
In those days, it was watercress, alfalfa, parsley.
That's good. Today it's not. Mike, I have gold vitamins, colostrum, protein, and ghee. My stuff is pure, but I can't hit the masses. I don't sell in stores. It'll never happen.
It's a different business.
Sure.
Yeah. Why don't you tell our listeners what the truth about vitamins is?
Sure.
You know,
I'll do it.
There are some vitamins which have real benefits like prevention of scurvy. I think vitamin B12 has been proven in memory care units to improve 25 to 50% of people there because they were there for vitamin deficiency as opposed to a true Alzheimer's disease.
Some vitamins and supplements, that's what they are, supplementation to real food. And we have water-soluble, fat-soluble vitamins. But here's the issue, Mike. We live in a world where people take vitamins, they eat terribly, and they think it's going to rescue them. It's not going to work that way. It's real food first. Again, I said supplementation. The vitamins supplement what you're doing in addition to healthy living. But think about this. We live here in the villages, Mike, right? Everyone wants to go out to eat. How many people do we know taking medication with alcohol at the same time? Happens more than you think. And that's just not intelligent. It's really not necessary.
Tell our listeners why that's not a good idea.
If you take alcohol and you mix it with medication, which people do, okay, your body can't break it down. So your liver, pancreas is going to function right. So they cannot be taken together. But people do it because what do most people say? What's wrong with a nice glass of wine? Whoever said it was nice? It has double the alcohol content of beer. Everything comes down to this. It's not moderation. It's how it's produced. Our country, which is a great country, is listed as the 37th healthiest country in the world. That's wrong. And it bothers me. We mass produce everything. We buy stuff as quick as possible. We go into certain stores. Stuff's just on the shelf forever. If you want to be healthier, take vitamins that are food-based, number one. So when you see ingredients that say titanium dioxide, magnesium stearate, a yellow dye number this, blue dye number that, throw them in the garbage. Your body can't absorb them. But the companies will make them will tell you it's only a trace amount. Then don't put them in, but it's cheap. These are cheap fillers that most companies use because the bottom line is money. Pharmaceutical companies don't want you to live forever.
There are drugs that help you live a healthier life and lifestyle because of the drugs primary care physicians prescribe.
The primary care physician, why won't they prescribe nutrition? Why won't they tell you, here's a better way to eat? There's no money in that.
Some do.
But how can a doctor put a meal plan together? They don't have time.
My friend Dr. Curtis, who we'll hear from later, talks about the mind diet, okay? Now, he doesn't teach you the mind diet. He says, here's a book on the mind diet. When I wanted to eat healthier, I said, the book is nice, telling me why the mind diet is good. So I went out to Amazon and bought a cookbook.
That's good.
For the mind diet. And we wind up buying a bunch of different ingredients for the foods we make at home.
That's a great move.
When I found out there was a mind diet cookbook, I said, wow, I got to buy one for $10, $12. It was a great deal. And some things were very tasty.
And it's funny, Mike, there's more recipe books sold than ever, and people cook less.
Think so?
People are busy.
Oh, yeah.
My book called Fire Your Diet has recipes in it, but has other things as well.
What is your book called?
Fire Your Diet, 17 Ways to Stay out of the doctor's office.
Give our listeners a quick tip from the book.
Increase your water intake, purified water.
Reverse osmosis water.
Yeah, that's great water. People should drink water. It's okay to go to the bathroom. Don't be dehydrated. A lot of times people are dehydrated before they start the day. It's 12 o'clock, I haven't had one glass of water yet.
How many glasses of water should a person take?
It depends on your body frame, size, your exercise level. They recommend half your body weight in ounces, but it's not going to happen. If you can drink 40, 50 ounces a day, that's good. But they recommend more, and coffee doesn't count.
My urologist said coffee doesn't count. So I drink very little coffee.
Smart move.
8 ounces every meal.
Of water.
Purified water is better. That's why I put in the reverse osmosis system, which takes everything out.
Yeah.
And you get 6 parts per million of
If you're going to do on reverse osmosis water, you obviously it lacks minerals, so you can squeeze a lemon. The body needs minerals, Mike. So sometimes minerals are needed. They make mineral supplements. But anytime you add to your food, your vitamins, your water, make sure whatever you're adding, the ingredients are as least as possible. Then buy things with 1, 2, or 3 ingredients, not with 100 of them.
You like simple ingredients.
Yes, I
So
totally.
that means you might take 6 vitamin pills because 6 different vitamins you want to get.
But I'm saying, but I don't want something that has a million ingredients in it because a lot of times they add chemicals and fillers.
What do you think of the Centrum vitamin pills for seniors?
Waste of money.
Where's the money?
They're loaded with ingredients. They can grab a bottle, all with chemicals and fillers in them.
Yeah.
That, Mike, I'm sorry.
I bought a bottle, read the ingredients, took 1 or 2, didn't feel any better, stopped taking them.
That's smart. A doctor recommended, which means nothing.
My doctor said, don't take it.
They're smart.
I should have asked him before I bought it. Well, why do you think so many people are ill as they get older?
They expect to get ill. Let me give you an example. My grandmother had a stroke in the late 1960s because she didn't take a blood pressure medicine. When my mom turned, she was 59. My mom knew she'd be on medication. She didn't say to the doctor, hey, is there anything else I can do? Can I eat better? Can I do whatever? He said, Lenore, you have high blood pressure. Here's the medication. It was almost like she was looking forward to it because she expected that outcome. And that's not the way I teach. It bothered me, but my mom was afraid. She took it her whole life from age 59 until she died at 82.
There are several classes of medications prescribed a lot around here. Blood pressure, blood thinners like Eliquis. What do you think of that?
Remember, Mike, I'm a PhD, not an MD, so I can't really go into that. I think, though, if people take medicine, the doctor should absolutely explain all the side effects, which they usually don't, the side effects. So if you take cholesterol medicine, blood pressure medicine, whatever it is,
Yes.
for 20, 30, 40, 40 years, and how can my kidneys and liver don't function right? There you go. There's always a side effect. I get it. Some people need it. I'm not anti-medicine, but we rely on it too much. And I use my mom as that example because she really, in my opinion, could have fought it better. But
Yeah.
she didn't. And our friends are the same way.
I see a lot of people around here. The big joke is that both the men and women in the villages look like they're pregnant. That's a weight control problem.
Diets don't work because they eat and drink too much.
And what do you think of these injectables like Ozempic?
Big risk.
Some people have lost substantial weight using those drugs.
Okay, let's see what happens in 10 years. We don't know yet.
We don't know. They don't know. The idea I had with those drugs, and it may not be possible, but as you take it long enough, whether it's 6 months or a year, taper down and stop taking it after you've reached your desired weight.
The weight's going to come back.
You think so? With a vengeance. I know that happens with diet. That's why there's so many different
Yeah.
diets.
You know what the word diet stands for?
Diet today.
DIET, depression, insecurity, emotional trauma.
That means everyone listening should immediately give up their diet.
No, I didn't say that.
What should they do?
First of all, if you have a focused mindset and you make a conscious decision to be healthy, that's where it starts. It starts in the brain. Number one.
Let's take a short break and listen to a health tip from Dr. Craig Curtis. Dr. Curtis, can you give our listeners a tip on eating in a more healthy manner?
Absolutely. My favorite tip involves a change in eating patterns, but it's not a drastic change. It's simply increasing the amount of fresh fruits and vegetables, fish, other white meats, and lowering the amounts of red meat, sweets and sugars, and also carbohydrates. It's essentially following a Mediterranean-type diet plan.
With over 20 years of experience studying brain health, Dr. Curtis's goal is to educate the village's community on how to live a longer, healthier life. To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtis.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
Thank you, Dr. Curtis. Joe, maybe you can give our listeners some solid tips on what they can do to improve their health, assuming we have people 60 to 80 years of age here in the villages.
Funny you should say, Mike, as a PhD nutrition and exercise physiologist, that's my clientele, people 60 to 90. First of all, absolutely work on your mobility and balance. Hire someone who knows what they're doing. And if people can afford to go out to eat all the time, Mike, they can afford an exercise physiologist, or they can afford some person who can help them. And make sure whatever person is working with you, whether it's in the pool, it's in your house, in the gym, wherever it is, that they are paying attention to you the entire time. They're not leaving you. You hire that person, make sure they stay with you the whole time. You're going to make progress if you want to. Be committed. If you don't like your trainer, get someone else.
There are so many things going on in the village. It's hard to cut the time to do physical training.
But people have time to go out to dinner, play 3 hours of pickleball, play golf. Like I said, Mike, it's the mindset.
Some play 3 hours of pickleball. I've played 3 hours here in the villages total, and maybe 16 hours of golf.
Here's the thing, Mike.
I don't enjoy those.
We all have a choice in life. God put me on a path to get people well. I wasn't good enough to play Major League Baseball, which I would have loved, but I'm here doing what I do. And I love when an 80-year-old person can now balance on one leg, or their mobility is better from pool exercise, or I take them food shopping, or teach them how to get better vitamins. But I love the fact that they're getting better results because they made a conscious decision to commit.
What kind of store you go into to get better vitamins?
None of the stores have them. I have two ways. First, I make goat protein, goat colostrum, and goat ghee. Great for your gut health and cooking, my own formulations. But when I need other vitamins, I'm very blessed that I have connections where I get the freshest batch that's not available to the public. Anyone who calls me, I'll help you out with no extra charge. So when I get my D or my zinc, I don't get traditional like everyone else. I don't want to sing on a shelf in the store for 6 months or a year. I make a phone call and I get what I need. So I'm very blessed, Mike. Very blessed. But you don't want to buy stuff from Amazon because it sits on the shelf. How old is it?
There's a date code on it.
When was it made?
They don't tell you that.
That matters. Like the vitamins I have, Mike, they're only a few weeks old.
Good.
Yeah.
More expensive.
When they're more pure? Absolutely. A Rolls Royce is better than the Cadillac. If they're more pure, it's going to cost more. But you get what you pay for in life.
Sometimes. Sometimes you don't.
True.
A Rolls Royce doesn't have to be 10 times the price of a Ford.
But they do that.
You can buy a 30-year-old Rolls Royce.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're a car guy. I'm talking.
I have a friend who did just that.
Yeah.
Now he wants to sell it. You make investments in life. What kind of investments can people in their 60s to 80s make that are meaningful in improving the quality of their life?
I'm going to start with something simple.
Simple is good.
You go to a dentist?
4 times a year.
Smart. Very good. Me too. I get my teeth cleaned. My dentist friend in New York said twice a year is good. 3 times is optimal. 4 times is gold standard. And I said, okay, Dr. Jim, why would I want to get my teeth cleaned 4 times a year? He said, your chances of living longer are increased. I said, I'm in. Longevity. So every 90 days, my teeth are getting cleaned. That's what I want. It decreases my chance of having a heart problem. Is it proven? Maybe yes, maybe no.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, that's common sense. It's not very costly for extra cleaning. So I do it. And I think people could do that. Well, my doctor said twice, my dentist said twice, it's your decision.
Have you read Dr. Peter Otter's book, Outlive?
No, I'm not.
I read it accidentally, so I like the title. His thesis is everything in normal medicine in America is medicine 1.0. How to fix a broken arm, how to cure cancer if it's not too far advanced. And what he is saying is we really need to go to medicine 2.0, which is about preventative care.
Correct.
Look at the genes and then operate as if those genes they classify as bad are actually the ones that are going to kill you or ruin your lifestyle. So that might mean more exercise.
Smart exercise, Mike. Interesting about exercise. I think people get older.
There's exercise.
If you work out and take weights and fling them over your head real quick, yeah, that's not a good idea. You're going to pull a muscle. I like slow strength training, which I have a system that I formulate myself that I work with people. It's great for osteoporosis or decrease the chance of that. If you do mobility work, balance, and strength.
So for our listeners who don't know what osteo is.
I'll tell them what that is.
Yeah, let's define.
You're decreasing bone density. And one of the best ways to increase bone density is not by drinking cow's milk, which is probably one of the worst things. Goat's milk is better because it digests in 20 minutes. Strength training, moving the resistance slow, both ways, positive and negative repetitions, without momentum or acceleration, where you're gunning it up in the air and you're going to...
You use rubber bands.
You can do rubber band, free weights, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Medicine balls. The slower you go, providing the weight is heavy enough, the greater the resistance. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean other stuff doesn't work, but when you're in a gym and you see a person taking a weight and they're gunning it over their head, they're straining it, cheating, using other muscle groups. I like precise workouts. And I've gotten great results with people doing that way as well. There's lots of ways to train, but it's about being smart. The good thing about slow training is you could do it twice a week.
Twice a week.
My system is 22 minutes twice a week.
Okay, so that fits in line with what Curtis was saying. Dr. Curtis, 25 minutes a week of moderate exercise is all you need to increase the number of brain cells growing in your body.
I would do a little more, but it's better than nothing, yes. But it depends what the exercise is.
The study they had, the double-blind study, was a band exercise on legs only.
Remember, leg exercises have the larger muscle mass, increase blood flow to the upper body.
That increased the number of brain cells.
If someone said to me, what's better, a 20-minute walk or 20-minute strength training, I'd rather the strength training. People walk around the villages, their posture is terrible. If you're going to walk, wear water shoes and go in the pool.
What do you mean water shoes?
When you go in the pool, people walk with bare feet on that hard cement. I slumped over. I'd rather them wear water shoes because there's more support in the pool.
If I go in the pool, I swim 6 laps.
That's good too.
I like to wear a snorkel with a mask so I can swim around the walkers.
Yeah, that's good. What you can do too is aqua jogging. If you have at least 5 feet of water, you put the jogger around your waist and you run in deep water. Your feet don't touch the bottom. You stay vertical. It's called aqua jogging.
What is that thing you're putting around your waist?
It's a special piece of foam. It's not a noodle, but it's designed. It goes around your waist. It's about $60 to $80. You jog, stay vertical, and your feet never touch the bottom. If you have a weight problem, it's perfect.
Keeps you off the bottom of
Correct.
the pool.
But if you're 6'4", the pools aren't going to work. You'd have to go to Laurel Manor or Mulberry, one of the pools that.
Okay. That is a problem here in the village. All the pools aren't the same. The utilization isn't the same.
Sure.
Joe, you're 58 now?
Yes.
If you could give some advice to yourself as a 25-year-old, what advice would that be based on what you know today?
I wouldn't have been so reckless playing sports, diving all over the ball field. I ran a lot of miles back in the day. I would have got back on both for sure.
So you think running causes problems?
I'm muscular built, so if I weighed 120 pounds, no problem, but I'm muscular in my legs. Running 5, 8, 10 miles was not a good idea. But I was in my early 20s, thought it was fine. It wasn't, so that was my mistake.
What are the best exercises for people in that 60 to 80 range?
Anything in the pool, strength training, mobility, and balance work. Make sure you feel it, but no pain, no gain is not the answer.
So what is the answer?
Work out to a point where you feel fatigue, but it doesn't feel like it's killing you. Make sure you like it, because if not, you will find an excuse or a well-thought-out lie to quit.
So many.
Find what you like and enjoy it. People get hooked on sports and overdo it. I still play baseball at 58. Probably not a good idea.
How many people do you train?
How many people do I
Train on a weekly basis.
I do 15 to 20 sessions a week. One-on-one. I don't do groups. I don't even do 2 people at once. Husband and wife, they got to come separate.
Okay.
Yes, I don't do one-on-one only, because you get the best results.
How long is a session?
60 to 90 minutes.
60 to 90 minutes. If someone wants to get a hold of you to talk about setting up training, do you have a website?
Call me directly.
And your number is?
917-399-9754. That's the best way. I have KasperInstitute.com with a KSPER Institute.com, but you want to talk to me? I believe in real communication. Talk to me. Phone calls are free, and we got to see if we're a good fit. I want them to enjoy the time we spend together. It's important, and I want them to like it. They get homework too if they want homework, and that's how we do it.
There are lots of classes here in the villages on yoga and Pilates. What do you think of those?
I think they're good if you don't have an injury, but one-on-one is still the best.
A group class with 20 people is not going to...
I've been asked to do it since I moved here. I'm not doing it. It's good, but I can't. If I got you and your wife there and some other people and your shoulder's bone, your back's bone, how can I do it? I won't work. Same with the pool. Listen, the pool classes, they're good too, but to me, one-on-one is optimal. It's the best of the best, because you're getting an individualized attention. Like when kids got tennis lessons or batting lessons, some of those kids flourished and became pros.
I took golf lessons here, and my wife and I at the same time. I spent $2,000 on golf lessons over time. I don't think I got any better.
I would do one-on-one. Better chance. Everyone's body is different.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with group fitness. It's not something I want to do, because I get results from people. I've had people with injuries and they're gone a few months later. The injuries are gone. They're playing sports and they're feeling great. Some stay with me, some don't. But I know they've made gains, and I'm happy with that. Years ago, my dad was paralyzed. I got him walking. That's the best I've ever done. He had a massive stroke.
Stroke.
The doctor said he'll be a vegetable. I said, you don't know who you're dealing with. I would not listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of arguments. And I said, you know what you're talking about. And the physical therapy in the nursing home was garbage. I had to take him out to my own therapy. And then I got him home, and he walked. I was committed and dedicated. You want a therapy person that really cares. I call my people. I have people that I might go to their house and then their husband's sitting there. He has an illness, and I make sure I'm talking to him. You need to be a real person. So if you're a health professional, people are not numbers. They're real people. Be real.
Good.
My advice to all doctors.
Joe, give our listeners your phone number so they can call.
Yes. If you like one-on-one rehab therapy, nutrition, or stuff with vitamins, I would love to talk to you. Reach me, Dr. Joe Kasper, at 917-399-9754. Your health matters. Don't wait.
Thanks for being with us today, Joe.
Appreciate you.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout-out for supporters: Tweet Coleman, Ed Williams, Duane Romick, Paul Sorgen, Kathy Loving, and Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. The way our show grows is with your help. Text your friends about this show if you enjoyed listening, or just tell your friends about the show. We thank everyone for listening to the show. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2024. All rights reserved.